Well, hello there, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at a battle in Field of Glory 2. Now, there's quite a lot of battles for us to select from, and there's going to be even more later. We're right now just looking at the Roman side, or we want to play as the Roman side, and I think we're going to try the Battle of Bagradas. In the First Punic War, the rival expanding powers of Rome and the North African Phoenician colony of Carthage began in 264 BC. Fought on land and sea, the bulk of the fighting was in Sicily, with fortunes having favored one side than the other. So we're actually under command of the consul Marcus Atilius Regulus, and we've got to go ahead and actually advance on Carthage here on the Bagradas plain. Now, historically, Carthage won this fight. We're going to try to change history and see if we can't take the victory. Of course, we'll only know when the battle actually happens, but I can, of course, show you a few interesting parts of the game itself. So if we're taking a look right here, we have most of our actual units on the field, and we can also add a few more. As you can see, we've got some points to fill, so I'm definitely going to get some armored cavalry. I want to get some hastati principes and some triarii, just in case the enemy has any cavalry, and if they are Carthaginians, they more than likely do have cavalry. So let's get all that hastati and principes. I'll get one more triarii unit if I can afford it. If not, I'll get some light javelin units. And it looks like we can only grab one from what I can see here. No, there we go. We got both. So we're going to accept that, guys, as a setup. And, of course, we've got our beautiful starting point here. You can see on the other side there is the Carthaginian force. And we're absolutely going to try to jump in there and destroy them. So I'm going to get started. Now, one thing that you might find different from this game to a lot of other games in this particular genre is we can now move groups all together. So we can, of course, move individual units, but in this case, we're going to move this entire group together as one. You can see they're moving forward. So we're going to do the same with our hastati. Beautiful. And we'll actually do the same with the cavalry units as well, if we can. We might have to be a little more careful, but I'm going to just move the cavalry units up here, sort of behind the skirmishers, and let me actually go here for a second. I want to put the sound effects up a little bit. We could also do the same with the triarii, but I think they're actually part of this large group over here, so we won't really mess with them. You also have to keep in mind where our generals are. We've got a sub-general here, and you want to try to keep these guys alive, as you can probably imagine. We're approaching the Carthaginian line. Let's hope for the best, and we're going to end the turn and turn it over to Carthage. All right, enemies throwing some javelins there, and you can see 13 is going to be the amount of dead and wounded that we faced on our side. No doubt we're going to exchange shots with these guys, but one thing that terrifies me is the fact that the Carthaginians have elephants in this battle, and that's not going to be easy to deal with. We're going to have to rely on our legionaries to really take them out. But the fact that they have elephants, hoplites, a few other units, etc., is worrying me. It looks like they definitely have a more structured army than ours. They have a ton more cavalry. So we're going to have to find a way to fight them off and defeat them here, if that's even a possibility. Now, of course, as you guys could probably assume, if you would like to play this battle as Carthage, you can. In fact, I played this battle as Carthage a few days ago for fun, and I won. So those actual elephants help a lot. As you can imagine, elephants do a lot of damage to enemy units, and we want to try and be careful not to get attacked by them. So there we go. Should be our turn. First things first, you probably think I'm going to go after the Numidian light javelin men, and you can actually hear the chances of winning and or losing, but I think I'm actually going to turn, or actually move over here and try and go after the enemy cavalry, the Libyan Phoenician cavalry here. So obviously trying to hurt these guys, I think is going to help our men big time. You might notice that with javelin units, you need to get one tile away, and that is something that might take some getting used to, but it makes sense. I mean, you know, think about it. If you're going to be throwing javelins are quite heavy, believe it or not. Certainly a lot heavier than just a stone or something like that, so you might need to get quite close to the enemy for it to be effective. We've got armored cavalry here. We've also got a sub-general. I'm not sure if we want to attack with him. As you can see, he's not really in a position to attack, so we're probably just going to have to wait a bit. I think right now all we can do is just prepare for the enemy's attack. In fact, we're going to take these light javelin men, start moving them over here in preparation for the cavalry assault, and we'll keep on moving forward with our men here. I also want to try and attack these guys. So in terms of winning a fight, I don't know if that's going to work very well, but we could certainly throw as much missile damage down on these guys as possible. And I think that's going to be our goal, is to try to outwit them with missile damage. So let's go for it. I'm going to go for it again. And eventually, we may very well attack them. But right now, we're just trying to get as many hits as we can with some javelins here. Pretty nice. Now, I'm definitely watching this right side, or their left, our right, and it concerns me. I mean, the fact is, there's a lot of enemies here, a lot of enemy cavalry, and we need to approach this in the proper way. If we don't, they're going to totally destroy us. So I'm really going to try to focus primarily on the central units, including, yes, the elephant units. And I don't want to move my cavalry up too much, because the fact is we're not going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with their cav. They just have way too many. But we might be forced to, in which case I want to at least bring over the triarii. For those of you that don't remember, the triarii are, of course, the spear units. So having them in this battle is going to be very, very important. We're going to go ahead and keep moving. So I'm thinking I have a little bit of hope with the triarii if we can get enough of them over. Obviously, horses hate spears. Well, just about anybody does except the person wielding the spear. And we'll keep moving forward. Here we go, guys. So we're really putting a lot of pressure on the enemy here. We're getting right on the front lines. Now, they could take those elephants at any point and smash us. And probably do a lot of damage. Now, yes, you can kill the elephants. Of course, that's possible, but it's not easy. I'm also going to move the triarii here on our left flank and try to face the other enemy cavalry units. We'll keep moving the Principes forward. Now, if you guys take a look here, the Principes don't have matching uniforms, and that's one thing I really love about this game. You know, there's a lot of Rome-based games out there where everybody looks the same. That really wasn't the case, especially not early during the time of the Republic, you know, 200 BC, 300 BC, 400 BC, etc. You know, this was really a time where, for the most part, you know, people had all sorts of different colors for their uniforms, primarily white, black, red, etc. But it wasn't necessarily, you know, something you had to, you didn't have to look like the guy next to you necessarily. I'm going to go ahead and end the turn here. I think we're pretty much done for that turn. So let's do that, end turn. And they're going to continue with the javelin damage here. And there we go. They're moving up the elephants. Now, this is actually the thing I worry about the most. So I want to try to take out as many Carthaginians before the elephants get to our front lines, because believe me, they are very good at killing soldiers. And I think once they get to our lines, it's almost certain that the Carthaginians are going to win. Now, like I said before, of course you can kill these elephants, but they're going to cause a lot of damage, a lot of confusion, a lot of panic, and our men are not going to be happy. Let's see what they do with their cavalry. That's also going to be extremely important. As for the hoplites and a few other units back here, I'm not too concerned about them. The poeti foot, in fact, I wouldn't mind getting into combat with these guys to see just what they have to offer. All right, we've got some auxilia units moving in here. Let's see. Okay, well, we've got to deal with these guys. Obviously, I wish we had the Triarii a bit closer. That doesn't seem to be the case. So actually, this might be the one time I actually charge. You can see that the impact charge, we actually have a higher chance of losing, but our actual melee, we have a higher chance of winning. Now, what that means is our first charge is probably not going to go very well. But if we're able to remain in combat with these guys, we could actually probably outshoot them, or outfight them, really. We wouldn't really be doing a lot of shooting in that close quarters. But this is certainly a possibility. So I want to keep it in mind. I don't want to jump for it yet. One thing that's weird is we are not, non-Zeoseeing enemy unit. Yeah, we're not able to charge with these cavalry. I thought that was a little strange. So we could actually get a pretty good attack here, it looks like, with our Hastati and Principes. There we go. Pretty decent attack. I want to go ahead and keep attacking here with the javelins. Just try and kill as many of the Phoenician cavalry as possible. Don't forget that these are light Phoenician cavalry. They're not extremely strong. So even our Hastati are getting some pretty good attacks on them. And I think the trick here is going to be to just try to surround these guys with everything we've got. All right, let's just go for the good old charge. And the enemy's evading, sure enough. Man, these guys really don't want to get in close combat with us. I think I'm going to send some more guys over. Send these guys forward. And of course, finally, we've disrupted one of the enemy units. So disruption is one of the first steps before retreat. Obviously, if you disrupt an enemy unit sufficiently, they're going to run. And as you can see, we actually see one of the guys on the ground. He's dropped. He is not alive. And I think we're going to do the same with this guy. The reason that I'm ignoring this guy in the middle is we can attack these other guys with 2 of our units at once, which I think is going to cause a lot more damage. As you can see, we disrupted another one of the enemy units. We're going to keep doing the same here. So we'll just keep on throwing javelins. Held firm. They held firm, but as you can see, they're dropping like flies at this point. And we're going to try and ride right up their right flank here. I think we can accomplish it. Also going to charge. And once again, one thing that's very important in this game, I'm sure most of you guys know, is that probability. So as you can see, the probability was absolutely on our side with this charge. If the probability is on our side, then we almost always want to go ahead and carry out the charge. Over here, it's very even. We can't honestly say who would win. Over here, we would definitely lose eventually. So I'm just going to keep moving the Triarii up and try to be as careful as I can with the cavalry. Get some more Hastati forward. So as you guys can see, I'm trying not to bring every single one of our units forward. It has nothing to do with me trying to create like a reinforcing line or anything like that. It's just because when one of your units actually retreats, if he's got units behind them, the retreat is also going to affect their stability. So if they see guys in front of them running away, they're going to be a little scared. So I like to keep them, pretty much far apart from the rest of my units if I can. And also, it's not like you're going to be able to get an extra unit in there to attack until one of your units either pushes through the enemy or runs. So I'm always very, very careful. We also know that our general, Marcus Attilis Regulus, is in this unit right here, the Hastati unit. So we're going to end the turn and turn it over to the Carthaginians once again. Let's hope we can get a victory, guys. Here we go. Okay, so they're actually kind of doing what we're doing. They're trying to kind of encircle us as much as possible over here on their right flank. And finally, they charged with their elephant. I was worried about this. Look at that, 40 damage. They're charging with more of their elements here. We are going to try to hold firm, and we might succeed, but this is not easy. Obviously, these elephants are ultra deadly, and now that we have to deal with them as an actual enemy, it's not going to be fun. We're going to have to find some way to off-put that benefit that the enemy's getting right there. Also, guys, if you're looking at the lower right corner of the screen, you can actually see the map. This kind of lets you know what's going on, and as you can see, if I'm just looking at the red on white, we're, of course, the white, the enemy's the red, it looks like they're definitely encircling us. You should always use this to kind of gain your bearings, get an idea of what's going on, because this definitely lets us know that we probably want to focus on that area. We want to make sure that we're not overrun if we can help it, of course. Right now, I'd love to charge those guys. It's just not going to happen. I will try to charge the light horse, and they're going to try to evade, but they're actually stuck. So this gives us an opportunity to do a little bit of damage to the enemy. I'm going to move some more Triarii up. I'll turn towards the enemy. We unfortunately can't attack this turn, but I'm also going to bring some Triarii to deal with the enemy elephants, and I'm not sure if we can get there in time. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try. I'm still going to do my best to destroy these elephants, but I feel this is going to be a tough job without a doubt. So as you can see here, the chances of a loss are extremely high. There's really almost no point in attacking these elephants. We'd be better off attacking the enemy, try to get them to retreat, and there we go. We got one unit to auto-break. They're routing. As you can see, this one held firm, but I think we'd be much better off trying to get one of these units to retreat and just forcing all of the enemies to retreat, essentially. Over here, we've got a very good chance of beating the Poeni foot. So we know for sure that the Poeni foot is a pretty light unit because we're able to move in there with our Hastati and actually do a lot of damage. And also our chance of victory here is pretty high. So I think I'm going to continue doing as much damage to them as I can. Let's see if we can go ahead and get an attack here. We could, but it's actually not going to go very well for us. What about an attack here? Once again, not going to go very well for us. We just got to get those Triarii up. And as you can see, the enemy is evading almost every single Triarii we send forward, which is a little frustrating. As you can see here, guys, the chances of us winning, 6% chance of a win, 26% chance of a loss. It's just not worth it, unfortunately. So I think we're going to go ahead and just wait a bit on that. As for our front lines, and when I'm talking about our front lines, I'm talking mainly about our Hastati front lines. It's not looking good. The best thing we can hope for is to force the enemy to retreat as much as possible. As you can see, some of them are evading us. We've got to keep this up. If we can't beat the elephants, we've got to beat the men. So I'm already going to start actually moving forward with my Principes. I'm not going to get caught up in this trap of just waiting for the elephants to break through. I'm actually just going to keep on moving. So we'll move forward with these Principes as well. Any unit that is able to push forward, we're going to push them forward. Okay, let's see what we're supposed to do. So we could go ahead and attack. It's not going to work out very well for us, but here we could actually get a great attack. Unfortunately, the enemy is going to run away like a bunch of cowards. We'll go ahead and use our men to throw as many rounds at the enemy as possible. I'm also going to turn around and fire my full arc at the mercenary hoplites. Let's move forward. And for the rest of these guys, we're just going to have to wait a bit. Of course, we'll get all of the Triarii units fairly close to the enemy. As you can see, even if we attack the elephants here, we just have such a small chance of winning. It seems like a real waste. So we'll end the turn here, turning it over to the enemy, of course. That was only a matter of time. They've already disrupted one of our units. Ooh, 33. Come on, boys. So some of the enemy units dispersed. That's going to count as a definite point in our direction. Of course, the enemy units could retreat off the field. They could retreat and regroup and remain on the field, or they could disperse, which essentially means they drop all their weapons and they just basically agree that they're not going to keep fighting and that the best case scenario here is to run as quickly as possible. All right, a lot of holding firm here. If we can hold firm, we can absolutely get a victory, but it's going to be hard to do that against these massive war elephants. And once again, since it's the end of the enemy's turn, there's going to be that combat phase, so they're still hitting us pretty effectively too. I'm surprised at how well our guys are actually holding firm, but of course this was historically a Carthaginian victory, and I can absolutely see why. So actually winning this battle would be a real challenge for us. I'm going to try to do it, of course, but it's going to be tough. The Carthaginians have tremendous amount of cavalry, a tremendous amount of elephants, and to beat them, we're going to have to be very, very lucky. So I could actually go ahead and hit the unit here, and you can see 99% chance of a win. So I'm definitely going to attack. Now, one thing that's pretty important is if I didn't attack, this unit would still attack the enemy unit at the end of the turn. The reason that this option appears here, even when we're already in combat, now here we're not, but on the right here we actually are, is because it allows you to attack before the end of the turn's resolution, which I think is really quite cool. And look at all of the enemy cavalry that's evading us. I think just for evading, we should get something in return. Now, these guys, obviously, they're not doing so good. And if they attack the enemy before the end of the turn, they're just not going to do very well. I will hit this enemy unit. Here we go. Javelins first, and then we charge. They've held firm. Come on, boys. Slaughter these Carthaginian dogs. It still isn't happening, but we're going to keep trying. And here you can see just the win chance is so low. Really frustrating, too, because we want to do something with this unit. All right, I'm going to fire at the cavalry, primarily because we have very few units that can actually get to the cavalry. So I want to try and defeat them as quickly as possible. Let's charge. 41, they held firm, but they were pushed back. And for me, one of the more frustrating aspects of fighting the Carthaginians is the fact that they seem to be really good at defending, pulling back, and, you know, consequently, it's taking us a lot longer to make them run. So they know exactly what they're doing here. I am going to charge this unit back here. Trying to take out the unit behind the elephant, I think, would be fairly helpful. It might not make a huge difference, but even if it makes a little difference, it's very helpful to us. I'm also going to move this unit out, but we might have to focus just entirely on the elephants for now. I think that's what we're going to do. Move forward. Some javelins at the enemy. Let's throw some more javelins. And we'll get some of our units behind the enemy units, like really behind the enemy units. I'm also going to take these guys and move them out to the right side of our line. And the Triarii, of course. Okay, so we finally got the Triarii to start attacking some of the Numidian cavalry. Of course, their light cavalry is going to evade, and just through that, they might manage to get away from our guys. I think I want to try an attack here, but once again, chances of a victory are very small. We're better off, even here, chances of a victory are very small. We're going to have to just sort of rely on the bravery of our guys, but the fact that they keep retreating with this unit, it's making it almost impossible for us to catch up. Let's move up. Move up. Move up. We're going to do the same with this entire line. You can notice that we're not really moving in tandem like we were before anymore. And let's turn around. More Triarii going this way, headed towards possible enemy contacts. And of course, we'll end our turn here, guys, and turn it over to the enemy. Let's go for it. Okay, so one of our units is broken. You can see the rest of those guys that are holding firm, they all took some sort of morale damage for that. And, of course, that's going to increase our chances of losing here. We're holding firm against most of the cavalry attacks. The problem is every time we respond to those cavalry attacks, they run away. And as for the elephants, I'm not sure if there's anything we can really do about those guys. I think we're going to have to basically ignore the elephants, try to hold them as much as possible, and work around with the rest of the enemy army. Now, the idea, I think, is to get to 45% difference. If we kill 45% more of the enemy, we win. And if we get to 60% at any point, so let's say we're at 59%, the enemy's at 60%, we also defeat the enemy. So there's all sorts of different ways to win, of course. But primarily it has to do with the difference in forces, whether due to kills or just retreats. It really depends. 45 enemy units disrupted. Nice. So our Hastati still have a fight left in them, and here we fragmented more of the enemy units. They've fallen back. If we just had a few units back here, we could actually probably get some enemies to retreat, which would work out beautifully for us. I mean, that couldn't get much better than that. All right, flank attack by the enemy. 22, we did hold firm, but of course, nobody likes a flank attack. All right, so as you can see there, one of our units broke. Now, thankfully, his friends didn't follow him, but, you know, obviously not a very good situation for our unit. Finally, guys, there we go. We managed to break one of the enemy light cavalry. Those are the kind of victories we need all across the field. And, of course, those light cavalry, they're going to be charging through their own men. They're basically going to realize this is a losing battle. There's no way for us to win this. And their men are going to see them charging towards them, you know, essentially or ostensibly to break through their lines and escape. And they're going to be like, maybe we shouldn't be here either. Maybe this wasn't such a great idea. You can see already that cavalry retreating. It's so frustrating. We are going to charge with our armored cavalry. And I'm surprised we didn't get more damage there. That was pretty pitiful, actually. Let's see if we can charge with this unit. What in the world? There we go. 97% chance of a win. 12, not bad. Now they held firm, but we're going to keep on hitting them. 12, fragmented. It's a start, guys. It's a start. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a start. So over here, we're not going to get any glory whatsoever. Here, we could probably get some. 47 damage to the mercenary hoplites. I think I'll try and face the elephants. And incredibly here, we might actually get a decent impact attack on the elephants. Instead of doing an impact attack, I'm going to fill them full of arrows first, or full of javelins. Now I'm going to do the impact attack. The flank attack, of course. And hopefully we can do enough damage to this unit to knock him down. I don't know if that's going to be the case. But of course, I don't want him getting to the rest of our units, so I'm going to try. They did hold firm here. Here we have no chance of a win, so I'm not even going to try. Here we have a chance of absolutely breaking the enemy. And we'll do some damage to these guys. 13. Let's do a charge. You can see the chance of a win on that charge is extremely high. And you can see the Bueni are actually taking some nasty hits. It looks like our guys know pretty well how to fight against these Carthaginians. I mean, they've been fighting them for a very long time, as you can imagine. But if they can keep this up and pull out a victory, I'm going to be very happy with these guys. Should be able to attack. Cannot charge 20 foot across the zone of control of the elephants. Aha. That does make sense. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see if we can throw something at these elephants. And right here, it looks like we're not going to be able to shoot. To wait a little bit. But we're going to keep on moving with our Triarii to smash into the enemy cavalry. They're going to run for sure, as you can see right there. Move these guys in. Move these guys in. They'll run over here as well. Just evade us. Really annoying way for them to actually win the fight, I have to say. There we go. Let's see if we can break some units here. No, that would not be a winning fight there. So actually, again, on that charge, we're not going to do very well either. Even on this attack, we're not going to do very well. So there's no way I want to resolve it this turn. I want to hope that our men can do better by next turn, but it's all really depends on a number of factors. Here we go. Actually, could do okay here. Enemy's falling back, though. And now we're going to turn it over to the Carthaginians once again, guys. They certainly seem to know what they're doing. Would like to get this guy forward, though, but if we can't, so be it. We're ending the turn and hoping for the best. Now, those guys are totally trapped by the enemy. I think they're going to pretty much become dead Romans fairly soon. Still a lot of melee combat here that's very even. But 42, when we lose 42 like that, and it's just held firm, it's essentially just telling us you're lucky that this unit did not run away. When it says fragmented, obviously our unit is fragmented, it's panicked, and as you can see here, it can break. And that's exactly what happened. We also had a few units disrupted here. So far, the battle is going historically the way it would, and the Romans, us, are getting completely annihilated by the enemy. We are going to try to fight back, but the enemy, without a doubt right now, is doing much better on the field. They just auto-broke another one of our units. They disrupted even more, and this is where things start to crumble very, very quickly. So if there's going to be a victory, it needs to happen soon. Actually, that time we managed to disrupt the enemy pretty well. Flank attack. As you can imagine, any sort of flank attack is going to do more damage to your men. Sure enough, that unit that we let get way too far from our army did retreat, and I sort of expected that. I get the feeling that had we been able to get into close combat with their light infantry, we could be on the winning end right now, but of course we're not. We've lost 17% of our forces. The enemy's only lost 2% of their forces. They're doing pretty damn well. And a flank attack. Come on, really, guys? All right, we actually managed to break one of the enemy units. That's some good news. And it's actually a sub-general that we broke. I'm not sure if that makes a difference in the percentage of how many men have run away, but defeating a sub-general or getting him to run away, I think that's certainly going to lower the enemy morale. They've just lost one of their leaders, so let's hope that that can continue. Of course, generals can also get killed in this game, which is another possibility. but he hasn't been killed. He's just retreated. Still, kind of shows his men, hey, listen, if I'm not willing to stick around here and fight, you guys probably shouldn't stick around here and fight either. It's probably a good time to try and head to the mountains as soon as possible. Okay, we managed to push some of the enemy back, but of course, we're getting our men further trapped over here in the enemy lines. Okay, finally, it's our turn. That took forever. So first, let's see if we can make this enemy retreat. 10. They held firm, unfortunately. I am going to try to charge the Numidian light cavalry, but as expected, they're going to run away. What about these guys? Impact's not going to go very well here. Impact's not going to go very well there either. Man, maybe we can charge with our spearmen. And the enemy falls back. Now, that's a frustrating aspect, of course, is the ability to fall back when you're losing. I wish we would get trapped in a fight, but that's just not how it works, really. Let's see what else we can do here. Okay, we'll charge with our general. Some of you guys might be like, no, don't do that, but the general is extremely strong, and obviously if he could defeat one of these units and send them reeling off the field, that would work out really well for us. So there we go, 35. They held firm, although to be honest, I thought they were definitely going down. Try to throw some javelins at that elephant. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't, of course. All right, 10. And for instance, over here is a great example of a place we really didn't get very lucky at. The enemy elephant's holding firm. He's not having any issue. And actually, we have a 25% chance of doing pretty well against that elephant. And even here, we have a pretty good chance of doing well against the elephant. So I'm going to keep attacking. We did manage to fragment him. That's a first. Let's hit him with our Triarii. It's going to be even more effective than the rest of our units. Unfortunately, didn't manage to break through, but we know that the Triarii are very strong in this particular area. And now I want to turn and keep attacking the enemy here on the left. Let's see what we can do. Get some more Triarii forward here. And actually here, if you take a look at the win-loss draw percentage, it's going to be pretty even no matter what happens. So I'm going to take the risk. We did manage to disrupt the enemy unit, but sometimes in this game, it really depends actually what kind of a player you are. Taking a risk might be worth it. Sometimes it's a terrible idea. I mean, that's why you're taking a risk. It's a luck-based system really when it comes to that sort of odd, to those sort of odds, I should say. So you want to remember that at all times. As far as I can tell, there's not much we can do in terms of attacking the enemy. We're pretty much stuck here waiting for them to react. So we'll end the turn and hope for the absolute best. Okay, we got some enemies to break. Very good. Now, just imagine if we could break down this entire side. We are on the road to victory if that occurs. We're getting closer and closer to the enemy's casualty count that they have on us. And that's obviously nothing but good news for our guys. Now, unfortunately, you can see here some of the enemy units are rallying. That's what I meant when I said that some of the units will run, but they won't ultimately completely run off the field. They'll still stick around. And over here, the elephants still managed to break our unit. Really annoying. Got a few of the enemy units that are basically reforming. Some of them are dispersing, as you can see there. So it's not a total loss yet, but the enemy is getting stronger and more vicious as the turns progress. Also, make sure to put down below, guys, in the comments how you think you would have led this battle, or what you would have done differently. We always like to hear your feedback. And over there, some more enemies breaking. It's the Poeni foot infantry. And like I said, I feel pretty good about destroying them. The enemy foot infantry, at least the Poeni foot, I'm not talking about their hoplites, are not very good units. And I feel like we could probably break a good deal of them. And there we go. Frustrating light cavalry. They run away from us, but they still throw javelins at us when they attack. It just never ends. At least we've gotten rid of 10% of the enemy army, so we're certainly fighting pretty well, but not well enough, I think, to turn this into a victory. We'll have to wait and see. All right, there we go. Another unit broken. And as you can see, that's going to disrupt some units around it. The numbers are getting a lot closer than they were before, guys. This is good news. Fragmented another enemy unit. Come on, kill that damn elephant. 31, but the enemy's holding firm. And they're absolutely engaging us in melee combat, which I have to say is pretty brave or pretty stupid, because I can tell, for one, that their Poeni infantry is not as strong as our Hastati. So if they're going to try and resolve this before the end of the turn, they're taking a big risk. Sure enough, once again, they're attacking and returning. And now it's 19-12. I'm liking these odds. They're getting a little better. So I am going to initiate this attack. 47. We've broken another enemy unit. Absolutely awesome. We've disrupted some more of them. I'm absolutely going to try to follow through here and finish them off. Of course, it looks like we're not going to be able to do very well. What we desperately need are more men, of course. Impacting with the Triarii. And I think we just proved to ourselves that the Triarii are pretty effective even against other enemy ground units. So they're not just used for elephants or other cavalry. They can actually do a pretty good job against the enemy in general. Let's see. So I'd love to attack these guys, but I'm thinking these guys are even squishier. Of course, that's not going to stop these guys from getting in front of us. Let's turn and fire. 12. We're going to try to charge the enemy here. Trying to get into more situations like this, I think, is going to help us. So let's attack. Come on, kill that damn elephant. Breaks. Finally, we broke the enemy elephant. A lot of the enemy is holding firm nonetheless. But this gives us just a little bit more hope that we can win. And we actually broke a mercenary hoplite unit. That is extremely useful on our end. I want to see here. We could attack these guys. We could attack these guys. Either way, we're not going to do very well. So I think we're going to have to keep it to the enemy cavalry. I know it's been tough fighting them because you just never know when they're going to run. But I'm going to have to keep moving forward. I can't just give up, you know. I've got to keep attacking. And it looks like these guys are actually going to put up a fight. Nope, I spoke too soon. They ran away almost instantly. What else can we do here? Let's see if we can't get a nice hit here on the side. Or maybe even a nice hit here. Or maybe even like this, a flank charge. I think we're going to do that. The flank charge looks like it's going to work very well. The enemy is already disrupted, and we're going to attack from anywhere we really can. I'd like to actually move these guys out of the way, so we're going to move them out, and this is going to allow our Triarii to move forward. 9. I would have expected more damage than that, but oh well. Beggars can't be choosers, am I right? Unfortunately, we can't even turn towards the enemy this turn. But I am going to keep putting some units there on the left flank, just in case the enemy gets aggressive. Man. All right, we're going to smash into the 20-foot. Pilum. Now, the Pilum actually had a really cool feature, and actually it's even kind of wrong to call it a javelin. Basically, the Pilum would, once it hit your shield, would bend. So actually removing it from your shield would be quite difficult, if not downright impossible. So these are sort of one-use weapons. You throw the Pilum, you take another one if you have any more. If you don't, you charge with your Gladius into combat. Overall, it's a deadly, deadly weapon. It's very good at getting rid of enemy shields, but you know, we have to be pretty close to use it, as you can imagine. And especially with our Triaria, or I should say not our Triaria, our Hastati units, it's not going to make that much of a difference because ultimately we're going to have to attack in close combat one way or another. I will try to attack the enemy here, but once again, the enemy is avoiding this charge. They're doing a really good job at just running away from us. For ground covered alone, these guys deserve the victory. Charge here. And wow, they actually did a really good defense. I don't think there's any point in attacking that sub-general. At this point, we are going to go ahead and end the turn, guys. But not before... I was going to say not before we attack the enemy elephant, but we're not going to do that either. This is pretty risky. Okay, guys, we're going to end the turn here. Turn it over to the enemy. Let's hope for the best. And as you can see, the difference now is 19 and 18%. So the battle is actually very close. You know, these two sides are extremely close in the actual fight. And it leads me to believe that there's a tiny chance we could win. It all depends on who runs first, etc. But this is definitely a pretty good start. All right, unit broke. And I think that was one of ours. That's definitely one of ours because it's the enemy elephant kicking us out of here. And as you can see, our unit dispersed. You saw a lot of numbers dropping there. You know, when a unit disperses, it loses total cohesion, it loses total formation, it drops all its weapons, and it basically runs for the nearest town or just safe house, you know, close to the battlefield. So a lot of those units dispersing, they have nowhere to run. They're closed on several points by our units and the enemy units. So it becomes quite complicated. And there we go. We've held firm. Some rear charges here by the enemy. Oh, and they managed to break one of our Hastati units. I saw that coming. All that cavalry is returning. They wanted to run initially. Now they're all coming back and they want a piece of us. And there we go, managed to break another enemy unit. Once again, the battle is very, very close. Like, the actual differences here are almost negligible. Of course, when the enemy has massive elephants, and 4 of them nonetheless, not so negligible. I think, you know, we're going to have to really kill a lot more of the enemy infantry if we want any chance of victory. Right there, they just routed another one of our units. They're probably going to succeed in routing a few more before the end of this turn. And there we go. That is the end of the turn. Okay. See what else we can do. 26%. Man, that's rough. I'm going to try to charge this cavalry unit. Of course, they're going to evade. And it looks like these guys could not run away because they were actually fighting the allies here, but they did manage to get away there eventually. And that's a real pain. I mean, I don't know how we would deal with that. to be honest with you. If the enemy just evades us every time we attack, we're never going to be able to get a kill on them. But we're going to try to avoid it. Okay, guys. Well, let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys think we could pull this off and get a victory? Or do you think that we are damned to be Carthaginian slaves? I'd really like to hear your feedback in the comments down below. We're going to publish part 2 here very, very soon. So make sure to take a look at part 2, which is going to be listed down below as well. And stop by there, guys. We'd really appreciate it. And we'd love to hear your guys' opinion. And we think you guys probably have a good idea of what's likely to go on. Now, I actually did not mean to do that charge. I meant to charge the Numidian light horse, but that's okay. One mistake is not going to make a big difference, at least not one that small. There we go. Disrupted. Not bad. But we want to break them. That's the key. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching. Take care. I'll see you in episode 2.